Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another Network 216 production of the Faithful Dawgs podcast here on your Victory Wednesday. I am Tyler Johnson, joined by Zach DeFranco, Jack Robinson. Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
How do you think we're doing? How do you think we're doing?
I ask because I'm a polite person.
Dude. Oh, hey, Crystal, hello. My name is not spelled with a K, but I appreciate it. Joe Burrow picture, so I'm a little nervous that you're going to attack us.
Thanks for joining us, everyone in the chat. Let's have some fun. You got questions, comments, feel free to drop them into the chat. Before we get started, as always, guys, just a reminder, always like to talk about this, but be sure, drop a like on tonight's video. It's completely free to do that. Help that YouTube algorithm grow for us. Just that thumbs up right there. But also subscribe if you're brand new to Network 216. We're over 2,000 subscribers now. We do have a giveaway available to YouTube subscribers and anyone else new that wants to join the channel. And the link for that is right on the YouTube channel. So it's really easy to enter. Just follow the instructions on the video. But now the goal is 3,000 subscribers. We can't get there without your help. So subscribe to the channel. It really helps us, and it's completely free. So it's a no-brainer to subscribe. Gentlemen, this is kind of wild from the standpoint of I don't think any of us expected the amount of points that the Browns won by on Sunday. I mean, if anyone in the chat did, congratulations. You were way better than us. But the Browns ended up winning 24-3 over the Bengals. Essentially, the Bengals couldn't do anything that entire game. So before we get into more stats, some player performances, what were your overall thoughts on this game?
Domination, dude. Just straight up from the start, just pure. I don't know. I did not expect what I knew Joe Burrow was going to be, a slow start, but I did not expect what we saw Sunday. And to any Bengals fans that are possibly watching, like don't be worried, don't be discouraged. He's still Joe Burrow. He's still a great quarterback, but Browns have his number. Browns have the Bengals number for some reason, especially at home. And even with this new defense with Jim Schwartz leading the way, it's a different vibe on that defensive front, dude. It's scary for the rest of the league. If they can play half as good as they did Sunday, this could be a top 10 defense.
Yeah, I mean, I was not expecting anything from what I saw when I was driving down to the stadium on Sunday. It was the weather report said nothing about rain. It's at 15% chance, and then we get down to the stadium and it's raining the whole time. And I obviously, that makes a big difference. But I mean, you could just see the difference on the field. It was just a completely different vibe. And the thing is that it almost got to a point where you were expecting it to continue to like be that dominant, because what we weren't seeing things that we normally see at Browns games where sure, maybe you get a couple of lucky possessions. Like this was just everyone seemed to have it was a completely different vibe in the stadium. Everyone was super hyped up with the defense. And I mean, it's obviously, the weather had a lot to do with it, but I think we're going to talk about it that this is not the same Cleveland Browns defense that I think that we've seen for the last forever, maybe. And that hopefully that this is what we're going to see moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick before I add something, I mean, Joe might not have been of 100%, but even if he was, I don't think the Bengals are winning this game. I really don't. You can draw whatever conclusion you want from that. Just for the record, I mean, you're commenting in a chat with a bunch of Browns fans, so yeah, best of luck there. We do appreciate you watching, but I'm just saying best of luck in the chat. That's all I can say. But I think for me, it's pretty apparent that regardless of who is defensive coordinator, that the Browns have Cincinnati's number. I mean, when it comes to that secondary can match up with every single receiver they have, take them out of the game. But the difference is that defensive line that we've talked about, all the additions they made, that defensive line is the real difference with this year's Cleveland Browns compared to teams in the past. So the amazing stat for me, guys, I think this is the one we got to talk about the most. Joe Burrow in this game did not eclipse 100 yards. He threw for 83 yards in this game. I mean, my apologies. He was 14 of 31. Absolutely,
Even that
was the worst quarterback according to Pro Football Focus. Remarkable.
Yeah, and even that, like, if you would have told me, hey, Joe Burrow had a bad game, he went 14 of 31, I still would have said, okay, he went over 100 yards. Especially with that trio they have at wide receiver. Like, okay, he still threw for over 100 yards. But if you would have told me before the game, like, oh, hey, Joe Burrow's going to throw for under 100 yards, like, mark my words, I would have laughed in your face, dude. Even with our defense, I would have laughed in your face. There's just no way.
I mean, you would have thought there would be like an injury or some terrible thing to happen, like where he doesn't play the whole game for something like that to happen. Which, I mean, I guess he didn't play the whole game, but still.
I mean, he didn't play what?
Like the last
fourth.
The last half of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Schwartz is the signing of the offseason. You can bring in all the talent you want, but you also need someone that knows how to use all of these players. You have that technician now at the helm of this defense. And it's just what's really sad more than anything else, if you really think about it, it took this long for somebody to use Myles Garrett in multiple ways to confuse an opposing offense. It took this long into this man's career to use him all over the football field. Like, I'm not going to mention the previous defensive coordinator. I'm not going to do it. But, dude, why? How does it take you this long? Myles Garrett's a generational talent, but hey, well, I'm just going to rush him from this side. We're not going to move him inside. We're not going to use him anywhere else.
And not even that. Even our secondary, dude, was all over the ball, like locked down. T. Higgins, no catches. If you would have told me that too, I would have laughed in your face, dude. I really would have. Martin Emerson played lockdown. You played press man on these guys, dude. Like Myles Garrett rushing from the inside, Ogbo, Miles, Za'Darius Smith out there at the same time.
The fact is that
Joe Woods' defense was so vanilla, dude. So vanilla.
It's worse than that. Joe Woods failed on a fundamental level. He misallocated the talent that he had on the defense. His corners are proficient at man, so he puts them in zone. He has a fantastic talent in Myles Garrett, and he just keeps him on the right end of the defensive line to get chip blocked, to get double teamed, to get held every play. But we don't talk about that. That's not his fault. But he doesn't utilize the talent the way he's supposed to. Jim Schwartz, not only has he, taken these pieces of talent and said, we're going to move Myles around. We're going to make mismatches. You want to try to like overload a side. We're going to make it so that you have to completely, change your entire scheme before the snap. We're going to make it hard for you. And then he says, I'm going to let guys like Denzel Ward. I'm going to let guys like Greg Newsome. I'm going to let guys like Martin Emerson. I'm going to let my guys like Grant Delpit beat your guys because I know that they can, and give time for my defensive line to put pressure on your quarterback. And Joe Woods, I think blitzed less times. He blitzed I think someone put up the stat 70 times all last year. We blitzed 11 times just in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Jim Schwartz clearly sees the talent he has. He sees what they're proficient at. He sees what the weaknesses of the opposing team is, and he attacks them directly with a philosophy that everyone on this defense clearly loves, clearly enjoys, clearly thinks that is best for them. And you can tell by the way they react. You can tell by the way that they have all this energy. Now, obviously, that's the first week, but I think that this is a clear sign that it's more than just, you have the talent. You need a guy who knows how to use that talent in the most proficient way possible, and Joe Woods simply wasn't that guy.
Also, I gotta add this because I'm quite honestly sick of seeing it everywhere. Can we stop that giving Joe Burrow all of these excuses? Just please. Like, okay, I understand he wasn't playing all of training camp and basically the preseason. That's not my problem. Why is it that we're using the weather as an excuse for Joe Burrow, but DeShaun Watson, who did not by any means light it up? Well, DeShaun Watson's not good anymore. You know why? Because there's a bias out there against DeShaun Watson based off what happened, based off what he has been accused of. Like, can we stop just giving Joe Burrow every excuse in the book, please? He played bad. The Bengals played bad. The Browns are allowed to have credit for winning a football game. It doesn't have to be just because, the weather was bad. That's why Cincinnati lost, or Joe Burrow wasn't 100%. Okay, if he's not 100%, don't play. Like, I'm so sick. I'm seeing all these excuses here, and I'm honestly sick of it. I don't know if you guys are. Why can't the Browns actually get credit for just completely destroying the Bengals? It's just ridiculous.
I just think it's comical at this point, seeing all this national media, like, especially, I think it was Sports Illustrated or something. No, maybe it wasn't Sports Illustrated, but someone wrote, like, I think it was Jake Trotter, that he wrote, like, Browns should be worried about DeShaun. And then, like, the next article was, the next, like, paragraph under was like, Joe Burrow, the weather affected him. It's like, are you serious, dude? Like, come on. They both played in the same conditions. It was, it was head to head. Like, it's just, it's insane to me, dude. I think DeShaun made plays when he needed to make plays. He did not look great, and that's fine to say. He did not look great for a lot of that game. His throws were in the dirt a little bit. It's going to happen for both quarterbacks. They're going to get into their groove throughout the season. So for both teams, like, it'll come,
Now, the main thing is, though, is that I can definitely understand that, yeah, the weather affected both DeShaun and Joe Burrow. And yeah, Joe Burrow definitely had some issues. And I think even before the game, we all knew that, his injuries and possibly the fact that he might still be injured might hinder his ability to escape sacks, might hinder his ability to escape pressures. And we all knew that. And guess who else knew that? Joe Burrow and the offensive staff of the Cincinnati Bengals. They need to adjust for it. They have prepared for it. They should have done something to the game plan to make it so that it didn't fall on the shoulders of Joe Burrow, and make it so that he didn't have to throw for less than 50% completion percentage, to throw bad passes and only accrue 82 passing yards. DeShaun Watson and the Browns offense knew the assignment, and when it started to rain, they adjusted. And guess what? After the first half, DeShaun made good passes. He made good decisions, and they were able to score and win the game. If you're a good football team, you can adjust on the fly to any sort of circumstances that show up, whether it be, inclement weather or things on the field or things that, you can't control half the stuff. Like, if the sun's coming in from the east or the west, you have to, say, can my guys catch the ball? Like, there's so many things that you have to adjust for as an NFL head coach. And then simply the Browns did better. Now, maybe that's something to say about Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor's prep, or just the fact that people will say that they are always getting off slow at the beginning of the season. I don't care. I just don't want to keep hearing these stupid excuses where they say Joe Burrow played bad because of the weather, but DeShaun played bad because he's bad at football now and he can't play. I think it's a stupid argument. If you want to have the argument, it has to be objective, and that I haven't seen objectivity in a lot of these debates that people are having regarding this game.
Exactly.
I think if you look at it from a full game perspective, both offensively and defensively, like, we shut them down on all cylinders. They had 142 total yards the entire game. 142. The Bengals, dude, their offense that was just hyped up all offseason had 142 total yards. Like, come on, man. Like, this Browns defense won us the game, first of all. But all we're talking about is how the weather affected Joe Burrow, and that's why they won. It's like they still just don't want to believe in us. And to be honest, as a fan, I'm totally okay with that. I'm fine with, being swept under the rug. Let it be all season too. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, MC, I've honestly had enough of it. It's just ridiculous. We will give week 2 predictions, by the way. That's coming up near the end of the show. I saw that in the chat too. So someone said we know Burrow's better. I mean, yeah, Joe Burrow's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And also, Connie, that was not a shot at you. That's literally everybody on Twitter that's just making up every excuse in the book for Joe Burrow, and I'm just tired of it. But yeah, most quarterbacks had issues week one. That's completely understandable, especially. But anyway, guys, speaking of DeShaun Watson, his performance in this game was obviously a little spotty. The stats weren't great by him, so his final numbers in this game were 16 of 29, 154 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He was sacked 3 times, averaged 5.3 yards per attempt. You know, they're not great, but at the end of the day, he outperformed Joe Burrow in this game. So what were your takeaways from Deshaun Watson's performance on Sunday?
He was as good, I guess, as he needed to be to win the game. Obviously, just from being there and watching, there were a lot of throws he missed. Like, there were a lot of throws that, didn't look very good. They hit the grass. That's been what everyone has been bringing up. But just from being there, I can assure you, the weather was awful. I've seen highlights. The TV broadcast does not tell you how bad the rain was down there. It was constant. It was consistent. There was never a time it let up. I mean, I could definitely understand, the difficulties of throwing the football in that kind of weather. I mean, even Joe Burrow had to put a glove on to try to mitigate how slippery the ball was. And I think a lot of the issues do come from the fact that it was rainy. He's obviously still, trying to figure out the offense a little bit. And he missed a couple of throws. I think he's still trying to find exactly his comfort zone in the new offense, and mixed with the bad weather, it didn't really come out to the best outing. But the thing is that you see the flashes of it. Like, even if he doesn't make that pass to Goodwin, like all the way down towards the end zone, which, should have been a touchdown. The fact that that was there, the fact that he saw the progression, he made the throw, and yes, it was short. It wasn't the best throw, but the fact that it was there, the fact that you can see him going through his reads and getting to the guy, especially towards the middle of the third quarter, hitting Donovan Peoples-Jones on the outside, hitting Amari Cooper on the other side. Like, the fact that he does that, and then you have the great lead at the end of the second quarter. It's all there. And obviously, if it was better weather, maybe we would have had a different outcome in terms of how we're looking at this game. But just from the eye test, yes, there were some bad passes, and obviously the interception was, something that was just it was a batted hit, a batted pass, and it got intercepted, which obviously sucks. But I'm not going to hold. It's really difficult to analyze exactly how well he played, but you can at least analyze some of his decision making and just the overall design of the way that he plays the game. And in that particular case, I think he played very well, outside of just some simple decision-making issues, which I think are just, a byproduct of it being a new offense.
Yeah, a new offense. And I mean, to be honest, this was like I keep saying, it was a team effort win, dude. You saw DeShaun take over the offense when he felt like he could. He made checks at the line of scrimmage, like that touchdown run. You saw him make some throws that were like that throw to DPJ. That was a dime. That was a great throw. He missed on some, but that's gonna happen, and that run to extend the drive on third down, dude, that hyped me up seeing that. That was like vintage DeShaun back in Houston. So it's going to slowly come together. I really do believe it. But I also loved, and I think it's being kind of swept under the rug a little bit here, is the second half game plan. How we kind of went back to our bread and butter. We really did. We went back to, okay, let's just run the ball. Give it to Nick Chubb. 18 carries, 108 yards, and that's what we did. And I think, in my opinion, that and the defense completely won us the game. We controlled the clock and the time of possession, and I think that was something that we switched our game plan, and Cincinnati had to play from behind the entire game and had to keep throwing Burrow out there to the wolves, dude. So, I mean, give Stefanski credit where credit is due. He didn't just stick with the air raid offense. He went back to the bread and butter.
I think also it's just goes to show, as a fan base, and in those, and I'm in the chat, it's none of you guys, but just on social media, we know who they are. They will not credit certain people no matter what is actually done. And the amount of people that refuse to give Kevin Stefanski credit for making that adjustment, but also his what he was dialing up on Sunday, I mean, almost anything was working. And the only way it wasn't is if DeShaun just didn't execute it. I mean, everything looked good that he was calling. Like you said, Zach, he switched over to the running game, which I'm glad he did because you had to in these conditions. You knew that DeShaun didn't have it necessarily as far as exactly what you wanted to see. So you go and switch it up. But also what you saw is different run concept. You saw still running different plays out of the shotgun, bringing Elijah Moore into the backfield, Elijah Moore taking handoffs. You know, sometimes it's okay as fans. You can criticize players, and that's fine, and coaches, and that's well-deserved from time to time. But, you know, you actually have to give them praise when they do something right. And Kevin Stefanski, you can say whatever you want about the guy. He doesn't lose to the best team in the AFC North. He continuously beats them. He rarely loses in the month of September since he's been the Browns head coach. And you know what? He's got a winning record in the AFC North. Like, at what point can this guy actually be given some credit for what he's doing? He's on the hot seat for sure. But also, on Sunday, I rarely, outside of a few people, saw them say anything about Stefanski. Almost like he had nothing to do with the fact that we won. And it's just, I don't know, man. I just don't think that's right. And I understand that's how it works in the media. That's how it works, like in social media with fans. But, you know, you want to bring somebody down, like players, coaches, as much as possible. But then when they do something, like they win you a game because, yes, Jim Schwartz is the headliner. But you know what? Kevin Stefanski deserves a lot of credit, too, for not being stubborn and changing basically the game plan in the entire second half, and nobody is talking about it outside of you mentioning it just now.
Yeah, and I think something that else is really I heard in DeShaun's post-game interview with Quincy Avery on Lockverse was he said how sometimes Stefanski was giving DeShaun 3 or 4 plays before they went to the huddle. Here's 3 or 4 plays in this situation. You call it once you get there. Like, dude, it's like a cohesive group of Stefanski, AVP, and DeShaun running the offense collectively. That's something we've never seen before here. I mean, in my opinion, we haven't. You know, It's not just okay. Here's the play, go run it. It's here's 4 plays, go read the defense. You call your best play, and it worked. It worked. You could tell. They were excited on that sideline, dude. Especially after when he scored that running touchdown, Tyler, when he made that check. That was such a great call at the line of scrimmage by Watson, dude. That was so good, dude. That gave me so much hope alone right there. That was so fun to watch.
Yeah. And like MC said here, guys were open everywhere. Dude, I'm telling you, I went back. I saw the old 22. They were actually open everywhere. Like, everything Stefanski called, I'm not, except a few plays, and I mean a few, were open and easily could have been executed. So,
and there was frustrations out there still. I mean, you think DeShaun wants to throw it at the wide receiver's feet? No, he doesn't, dude. And that was a struggle he had back half of last season too. It's week 1. Shake the rust off. I want to see how he plays in Pittsburgh. It's supposed to be better weather Monday night. I want to see how he plays and see if we can eliminate those kind of bad throws, because that would be very telling.
I'm not ready to even say there's going to be good weather in Pittsburgh Monday night because there was nothing on the radar in Cleveland, and magically it's just it's raining the whole time. So I'm convinced that he can't have a nice weather game anywhere outside.
I don't know if he's even had one in Cleveland yet, to be honest.
He has not.
Jack, what are your thoughts on this, by the way?
One more thing, though. He does have to get used to it, though. It is Cleveland.
Correct.
Stefanski or
no.
The fact that fans won't give credit where credit is due, but they will continuously beat down someone whenever they do anything remotely wrong.
Because that's human nature. They focus on the or on the negatives, and it's easier to harp on someone when they make a mistake than to give someone credit when they do something good. It's just the way that it works. Like, it's obviously, and it's also a thing almost kind of like based on just the knowledge of how the game works. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, when DeShaun threw that one pass that hit the dirt, and it was Amari in the middle of the zone, like kind of right at the first down marker, he got booed. I'm not lying. He got booed, and it was, I'm sure it got picked up on the TV broadcast. And I mean, I can understand the frustration, and obviously, yeah, you would hope it, like, it looks like an open throw. It looks like an easy throw that he should be able to make. And I'm sure, if DeShaun was feeling more comfortable and if it wasn't as rainy, he would have made it. But, it's a mistake. I'm sure DeShaun would have wished he could have had it back. I'm sure that, he could have made the throw if he just gave it an extra second, or maybe just adjusted how hard he was gripping the football or something. There were a bunch of different things that could have happened, but people just look at the outcome and say, well, he can't make the throw. Obviously, he's bad, or this play didn't work, so obviously the play calling's bad. And they don't want to look at the totality of everything and think, but in the overall, was the play calling good, or overall, like how good was the overall performance of the team? And they'd rather just focus on these small little mistakes and make that indicative of the whole process. And that it's human nature for people to do that, but I think it's also not smart for people to do that, because it's not productive, and it doesn't actually give you a good vision of the whole picture for just how well this team played offensively in terms of the circumstances regarding the weather, and then the circumstances regarding the game clock, and just what you needed in that circumstance. So I understand the short-term frustration, but long-term, it doesn't make any sense.
I think what's very important to note too is on Lockerverse, DeShaun actually said, and Kevin Stefanski actually confirmed the next day, DeShaun got an IV at halftime because his body was, it had been it was his first week 1 game in a while. He was cramping up like a good amount, and that's why you saw him grip the ball the way he did, to try and get some extra under it, because he couldn't get it there. And Stefanski confirmed that same thing. So something else no one wants to talk about. So it's conditioning. It is. It's crazy. But as far as on Sunday, who are some players because we had our winners and losers that we released on Monday evening. What are some of the guys that you thought really played well, and then some that kind of underachieved? Let you guys have the floor on this one, since I already gave my takes on it.
Go ahead, Zach.
I would say really play well. Grant Delpit. I loved watching Za'Darius Smith get after the quarterback, especially that very first play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, but Grant Delpit had a heck of a game. And on the offensive side of the ball, I don't know, because you guys are probably expecting a skill player, but other than Nick Chubb, there really wasn't much to go around, with the weather. Wyatt Teller, dude. I loved watching Wyatt. I think he had like 4 pancakes on Sunday. Like, that dude absolutely destroyed the Bengals alone. And that offensive line in general, dude, just did great. David Njoku was coming into his own as a run blocker. That was one of his biggest knocks when he first came here in Cleveland, was he's not a good run blocker. Now that dude's coming into his own. All around, I would just say offensive line and Grant Delpit are my 2.
Yeah, obviously I would also go with Grant Delpit, but I'm actually going to go with someone else, because I think everyone has already, made it very clear that Grant Delpit has made a huge leap in this defensive scheme. He's just all over the place. But I'm going to go with MJ Emerson. He was just absolute lockdown on the lake on Sunday. He was the guy. Man. He was the guy mainly covering T. Higgins. He's a bigger corner, so obviously you want him on bigger targets. T. Higgins is really tall, but he can also guard, tight ends. And just the fact that he was able to, obviously, yeah, he locked down. He was locking down Chase at the beginning of the game, and then Chase got upset with it, and he wanted to be on Denzel. He thought Denzel would be an easier player to play up against. So Emerson was actually playing on T. Higgins. And T. Higgins, 8 targets, 0 receptions. That kind of speaks for itself. But Emerson was just getting in their face, like locking them down. He was reading the routes and just bracketing them so well every single time. It seemed like he was running the routes better than the receivers. He was just fantastic. I don't think that anyone can argue that the Browns probably have the best corner room in the league. In terms of just how much talent we have with Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson, Denzel Ward. I don't think anyone can really argue that. I don't know any other team that has that much talent. On offense, I also would have gone with a skill player, but I think I'm going to go with DeJuan Jones because I think that he had to step up in a big moment that I think a lot of people that I don't even think he was expecting to have to step up this early. Obviously, losing Jack Conklin for the rest of the season, that's a huge blow. But it really does kind of speak to DeJuan Jones's progression from the beginning of preseason, where a lot of people were questioning, does he have the ability to progress into an NFL tackle? Does he have, he's big. Does he have the ability to become capable of managing a workload that is being a right tackle in the NFL? And the fact that through the entire, preseason, through the entirety of training camp, he's become a guy that the second that Jack Conklin goes down, they say, DeJuan, you're going in. They don't look at someone like James Hudson, who's been there for forever and has been like their kind of guy that they put in at the tackle position on that or on the line whenever there's an injury. It's straight to DeJuan. And I think that's huge because that means that not only do they trust him, they think he's ready to make that jump. And I mean, there were some times where his run blocking was a little bit suspect, but I think that's just because he's so big. It's hard for him to really, make lanes and get seals off the same way that a guy like Jack could. But I think that he's ready to step up in that position. And I mean, he showed really, really well for being a rookie who was not expected to take this job this quickly. And I mean, he came in and he did his job.
It's a good one. I mean, I'll be real with you. Like, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little worried, because that run blocking is not good. Like, it's a problem. And the other issue is, thing that makes me nervous is on the other side of the line, you have a tackle that's unstable over there who actually performed worse, according to Pro Football Focus, than DeJuan Jones. So now it's like, okay, I mean, these guys are better pass blocking, which is great, but their run blocking is very, like, graded out some of the worst in the league. Like, and I get it. DeJuan's a rookie. Like, I'm not necessarily worried about his long term, but I think for the short term, the pass blocking, I have no concern, but the run blocking is going to be a problem, I feel like. Again, I love DeJuan though. And that brings me to the next point before we move on and talk about the Monday Night Football game. What worries do you have after this game against Cincinnati? For me, it's offensive tackle, 100%. But what about you guys?
I mean, I agree. I'm going to have to go with offensive tackle. I'm definitely optimistic about DeJuan Jones' future on the offensive line. But like you said, Tyler, seeing Jedrick Wills great even worse than DeJuan Jones, who had to come in and fill in the middle of a game. That's not good. And I've been hard on Jedrick Wills all offseason, but dude, he needs to start proving me wrong then. He needs to start performing better in the run and everything like that. So yeah, I'm going to have to go with the offensive tackle position as well. It's scary to think that, that's such a question mark on our offensive line right now.
Yeah, I would agree with the offensive tackle. If there was one other thing that I was going to just be concerned about, it's just I'm just hoping that DeShaun gets kind of settled into the system as quickly as possible. I think that we have a really good chance of getting ahead in the division as long as our offense can keep up with our defense. So I'm really concerned about Jed Will's ability to protect DeShaun and Jawan being able to match up with guys like TJ Watt and other dominant edges that we're going to be going up against in the next couple of weeks. But I really, it does come down to making sure that DeShaun can kind of get into the rhythm that we think that he can get to, and that we think is most probable once he gets into good weather games. But we just need to see it. So if I don't want to just ride off of your guys, because we all kind of think the same thing, that it's offensive tackle. But I do think that we do need to see DeShaun really get into his own. And we think that that's probably going to be coming up once he gets an actual good weather game, whenever the heck that decides to happen.
I think the big thing is everyone's like, well, Jed Wills is going up against Trey Hendrickson. Okay. Like, he's going to be going up against someone that's probably pretty good every week. Like, that can't listen. I've tried to be that guy that is very not slamming Jed Wills every week, But now the reality is you got a rookie on the other side of the offensive line, and you need to rely on Jed Wills to be average. And for too long, he's either been above average for a week or so, and then he just goes right down to bottom. And it's a problem. And especially when you're going in, you're going to be going into an environment like Pittsburgh on Monday night, dude. You're going to have to give DeJuan Jones help on TJ Watt, and he's going to be one-on-one with Alex Highsmith.
Yep.
So it's a huge concern for me. It really is. I don't know. That one concerns me. I'm just concerned, dude. All right.
I mean,
well,
another. Like, I know you mentioned like who was like kind of underwhelming as well, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
David Bell didn't really have a role Sunday either on the offense. He really didn't. I mean, I expected to see a little bit of more of David Bell.
He had some opportunities. He had that big drop that was kind of disappointing, but I don't know how much of that you can really.
He played 10 snaps, dude.
I know I think it was a lot of.
Cedric Tillman only played 11 though,
yeah,
so I mean it's not like. I mean,
Cedric Tillman's going to have to kind of find his role in the offense right now too. He's a rookie, but David Bell is. I know. I think I expected a little bit more of him on the offense side of the ball, dude. I really did.
Well, I mean, I wonder how much.
Once they went to that back to the run, basically the zone run game. I knew we weren't going to see any of those guys in the second half.
Yeah, I think it was limited a lot by the fact that they did go gun heavy, and he had the drop at the beginning, but it was raining, so I'm not going to hold that as much against him. So yeah, I don't think that's anything to worry about just yet.
Yeah. Now, if that becomes consistent, then yeah, it is a little concerning for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, Tyreek Hill is the leader in receiving yards. By the way, we're talking Browns right now, so just like nothing against Jordan Love. Like those guys are good and all, but yeah, we're moving on. All right. Moving on. The Browns are scheduled to take on the Steelers Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh. Weird that we're having 2 Monday Night Football games on this week. That's just extremely strange. But anyway, guys, the Steelers got absolutely just completely embarrassed by the 49ers this past week. I mean, just utter annihilation. And I believe they were at home for that game. So going into Pittsburgh, I don't know about you guys, but the Browns for years, this is that type of game where you expect a letdown. It really is. Like, you expect Pittsburgh, they're back against the wall, to come out and punch us right in the mouth. What are you expecting in Pittsburgh on Monday night?
Not a letdown. I'm not expecting it, dude. You had the 49ers, who are, yes, one of the best defenses in the league, but they went in there and they absolutely annihilated them. They destroyed Kenny Pickett. Pittsburgh barely got to run the ball. They had to pass the ball too. I'm not expecting a letdown at all. I'm expecting us to come out, use the momentum from week 1, and just completely destroy the Steelers. I really do think we can.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. This matchup is always difficult because this is more than just a football matchup. It's like it's a psychological thing. And even it all really does kind of come down to this guy right here, Mike Tomlin. I mean, this guy, just the way that he preps for the Browns and the way that he, gets his team ready for playing the Browns. It's different than any other matchup for us. Like, it doesn't matter how good we look or how bad they look or what the prior weeks show. This is a tough matchup. It doesn't matter. But what I will say is this: the Steelers last year, in the last game of the season, I remember talking to Steelers fans, and I said, I don't care if we lose this game. It doesn't matter to us. But you guys better hope you lose, because if we lose, we get rid of Joe Woods, which we did. And that's going to be a good thing for us. But if you win, you keep Matt Canada as your offensive coordinator. And Matt Canada is the worst offensive coordinator in the league. He's not had one game in the past 36 games or something, the past 3 years he's been the coordinator, that they've had 400 yards total yards. They've never done it. They have a terrible offensive coordinator. They have a terrible offensive game plan. Their offense is going to be sluggish because their offensive line isn't very good. They lost Deontay Johnson. And their defense took a huge hit from Cam Hayward. So while I totally understand the mental part of this, because whenever I see the black and gold, I get flashbacks, PTSD. I feel terrible. I feel sick. But now I'm feeling a lot more confident because of just what the San Francisco 49ers did to them last week, and seeing just how our defense, to what was considered one of the top 3 offenses in the league, what they were able to do to them. I have a feeling that this is going to be a very, very different story coming out of Acrisure next week.
Very well could be. I'm not kidding. I am so torn on this game that I don't know really what to expect. And I say that from every time since we've been alive, the Steelers have had their backs against the wall. What have they done? Every time. And I mean every single time. Their backs against the wall. There is no team in the NFL that I rather not play than Pittsburgh when their back is against the wall. And it's because of Mike Tomlin. Now, you brought up a great point, Jack. Deontay Johnson, he's out. That's huge. He's the number 1 receiver. You can say whatever you want about George Pickens. The dude can't separate to save his life. He can make spectacular catches, but he cannot separate route running wise. Cam Hayward is huge because now you have to prepare. You still have to prepare for Highsmith and TJ Watt, but now Cam Hayward is out of the equation. So here's what I want to ask you guys. What worries you most about this Pittsburgh offense? And then we'll go to the defensive side of the ball.
I will. The thing is that I just don't really know what concerns me, because I don't know what their offense really is. We didn't get any sort of indication of what this offense is really supposed to do, like what their identity is, because against San Francisco, they basically did nothing. Their running game was putrid. Their passing game was non-existent outside of like one drive. And for the most part, again, it's not a talent thing. Like I don't think that there's any argument that when you compare the offensive talent of the Steelers to the defensive talent of the Browns, that there's any sort of comparison. I think that the Browns clear that. I mean, their offensive line of the Steelers is not particularly good. The defensive line of the Browns is very good. Their running back situation, Najee Harris, is serviceable, but I don't think that he's as good as I think a lot of people thought he was going to be. That he's not the guy that you can run him every single play and he's going to be able to get you yards every single time. He's just not that guy. And I think that our corners are locked down. And I think that they don't have, again, like you said, George Pickens is like their number 1 guy now, and he can't really get separation to save his life. It's not a talent thing. It's a mentality thing. And sometimes guys just come to play, and sometimes guys just don't, or sometimes, guys just come out and they play differently when it's this matchup. And so I just want our guys to come into this game and not underestimate, not, come in here psyched up. I just want them to come in here and play the way that they played last week. Because if they do that, I think that the offense of the Steelers, I don't know if there's really all that much to worry about, because I do not believe in Kenny Pickett as a quarterback.
I just think in general, we updated that defensive line. We can stop the run. We can stop Najee Harris if they decide to try to go that route from the jump. Our secondary, Juan Thornhill might be back. Our secondary, with Juan Thornhill already going to improve, you completely eliminated the threat of Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd. Why can't you do that with Allen Robinson, Calvin Austin, George Pickens? George Pickens is the scariest one, but Matt Canada, for some reason, can't find a way to give him the ball. Kenny Pickett can't find a way to give him the ball. I don't know. I have more expectations. It's not just like hope. It's expectations for this defense to come in and shut down opposing offenses this year. And I don't know. I really do. I feel like the Browns can win on both sides of the ball, again, control time of possession, just like we did last week. Another recipe for success all season long, I think, is that. And I really do think the Browns can just handle business again in Pittsburgh. A primetime game. They're going to look good. They're going to feel good. They're going to play good in those new uniforms. I really do. I have this expectation that they're just going to take care of business again. We are the better team. We are.
Let me ask you something. So Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh offense was completely neutralized by Nick Bosa, one of the best in the league.
San Francisco 49ers have the best defense in the league when healthy.
And Drake Jackson. But would you guys say that Eric Armstead, would you say that the Browns offensive line is comparable or better in terms of defensive line, excuse me, that their defensive line is comparable, if not better than San Francisco's in terms of talent and personnel?
San Francisco has the advantage. The Browns are up there top 5, but San Francisco from a talent standpoint probably has the best overall defensive line and linebacking core in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I would say.
But so would you say that it's marginal or just in terms of talent, like if we're talking about Dalvin Tomlinson, Za'Darius Smith, Myles Garrett, and compared to their top 3?
I think Hargrave, Armstead, Nick Bosa. I know I'm forgetting some other names that they have on that defensive line too. Drake Jackson. I like the core of 4 to 5 guys that they have better. Like I would take that core over us because I think it's better. Mm-hmm. But our group is a top 5 group.
Yeah. And I think that just because of the talent that we have, that we can get comparable results because of our strengths at corner and just the fact that our defensive line is very good to what San Francisco got. Not entirely, but I mean, Kenny Pickett was completely out of the equation. Najee Harris out of the equation because they got behind so quickly. I think if the Browns can even have any bit of the same success that the 49ers did, I think that the Steelers offense will be not a problem for us. Honestly, I don't think I have no reason to be worried because again, Deontay's not there, and I didn't see anything to be scared of in their last game.
They got ahead early. So sorry, Tyler. I'm just saying they got ahead early, San Francisco. So they made Kenny Pickett beat them.
Yeah,
go against this top defense and beat us, and he couldn't get it done. If the Browns can mimic that in their own way, I'm just saying, man. I have expectations.
The guy that in this offense, and he didn't do – now, he did get injured on Sunday, and I think he's still going to end up playing because Monday night there is longer time to rest. The guy that is a little bit worrisome is Pat Freiermuth. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because the Browns, and we can say it's a new defense all we want, the Browns historically, no matter who has been on the team, has not been able to consistently cover tight ends. And Pat Freiermuth led the NFL as a tight end this past week. And again, he got injured. He led the NFL in red zone targets at the tight end position this past week. And he had a touchdown. And that is where he got injured, was on the touchdown. But that's my biggest worry is if you can take Pat Freiermuth and contain him in this game, then I think you're pretty much set. George Pickens, you can say whatever you want. I mean, don't get me wrong. The guy makes some spectacular catches. But if you body that man and press man coverage him, he's not going to do much for you. That's just not who George Pickens is. And it's not a knock on him. It's the reality of when you watch him play. Like we act like George Pickens is going to be the next fantastic receiver. Well, you're not going to be fantastic if you can't separate. And George Pickens can make all the spectacular catches in the world, but he's never going to be a true number one if he can't separate. So for me, it's Pat Freiermuth because I just think he's that big of a difference maker for the offense if he's healthy. Now, if Pat Freiermuth's out of this game, then, I mean, I don't know where Pittsburgh goes. But I think Pat Freiermuth is that much of a problem for the Browns. I mean, historically, he's played really well against the Browns, too. I mean, he already has a couple touchdowns. Dude's been in the league 3 years. I mean, he's been really good against them. So, now on the defensive side of things, Pittsburgh, regardless if they don't have Cam Hayward, has talent all over the defensive line. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith. I still believe they have Larry Ogunjobi. I could be incorrect on that one. They got plenty of talent there. Still got Minkah Fitzpatrick. How much do you trust this Browns offense against? And I still believe it's top Steelers defense.
And that's what we just talked about. How our tackles worry us. Well, now they got to go against TJ Watt, who had 3 sacks on Sunday. So that's a difference maker right there. That's my worry is 90 coming after Watson. So
I think that Cam Hayward being out does lend a lot of help to us in many aspects. One being that it does kind of make it so that you can maybe allocate more attention to TJ Watt instead of having it be like a one-on-one. Maybe you could send more help over to help, DeWand if that ends up being who's matched up against him. But I think Minkah is also one of the biggest, wild cards because Minkah is very good at hiding in the blind spots of quarterbacks and really getting into the passing lanes. And I think, obviously I don't want to say that, DeShaun is going to throw any bad passes, but he does have a tendency to sometimes maybe throw an errant pass or try to do too much when he's scrambling out of the pocket or when he's going through his reads. Sometimes he'll ignore the easy pass and go for a more risky long distance pass. And I think that there is a chance for a mistake to happen where Minkah can read him and either get an interception or something like that at some point in this game. But at the same time, I think that Cam Hayward being out does kind of lend this game to be a game that is won on the ground. And I think that that's going to be a big benefit for the Browns is that they are going to be able to kind of use Cam Hayward's absence as an excuse to not only get the ground game going and give DeShaun more help, but let's be real, Minkah Fitzpatrick cannot tackle Nick Chubb. He's afraid of him. He's incapable of doing it. So I think that just the fact that Cam Hayward is gone does kind of solve a lot of the issues that TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick do provide for this offense.
Yeah. I mean, I think the guy that worries me, and listen, it's so easy to say TJ Watt. It is because he is one of the best defensive players in the NFL. Consistently always is. And make the arguments the reason sometimes that Pittsburgh is even in a game is because of TJ Watt and the game-breaking plays that he has. But for me, it's Alex Highsmith, and I'm telling you, this guy is just not – I mean, yeah, he signed a pretty nice contract extension, but from the rest of the NFL, they sleep on this guy all the time. I mean, he is a fantastic 4 solo tackles on this past weekend, 7 total tackles, no sacks. The former edge rusher out of Charlotte, he's a fantastic football player. And I really feel like that nobody gives him enough credit, and people just forget about the type of football player he is. Very talented. And that's what worries me the most, because while you have TJ Watt going against a rookie one-on-one, you're going to have Alex Highsmith going up against one-on-one against Jed Wills. And, I hate saying it. I like Alex Highsmith in that battle 10 times out of 10. They're going to have to keep Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, whoever it is in the backfield. They're going to have to keep them in and forget running routes. You're going to need them in the block on passing situations because, one, I think with DeWand, you can give him a little bit more leeway because DeWand Jones' pass protection is, for a rookie, is phenomenal. There's no doubt. But he is going against TJ Watt. He is probably going to need help from time to time. It's how it is. Jed Wills is going to need some help in this game going up against Alex Highsmith. And let's not forget, guys, Steelers drafted a rookie that is already making an impact for him. Keanu Benton is already had 3 tackles against the 49ers on Sunday. So he's going to get playing time. They have Larry Ogunjobi, Nick Herbig. They got him as a situational pass rusher. They have weapons all around this defense. And I'm worried about the Browns' offensive line against that defense. I really am. Because DeShaun was sacked 3 times on Sunday.
Yeah.
Mainly in the first half. But the point being, dude, you got a rookie on one side. You got Jed Wills on the other side. Not a good recipe for success. At least on the offensive side of the ball. Like, I think the defense needs to score a touchdown in this game.
I would agree. Scheme around it too. Quick passes, control the clock, get up early, dude.
Have to get up early in this game.
Yes.
You have to put them away. Like, one thing about Pittsburgh's never going to quit, but you have to put them away. They have that Mike Tomlin mentality. That brings us to predictions. So, gentlemen, this game on Monday night in Pittsburgh, it's going to end the NFL weekend, even though the Saints are playing I have no idea why that's on an hour early. But anyway, the Saints are playing the Panthers on Monday night. The Browns and Steelers is the last game of the NFL schedule for week 2. What's your prediction for this game, and what do you expect to see?
I'm expecting a grinded out game. I don't think that there's going to be any sort of, I don't think that this is going to be a blowout. I feel like it's never a blowout when it's Browns Steelers. Obviously, like some scores from the last couple of years would make you think it's a blowout, but they're always really close, even if the score says otherwise. So I would say that if I had to guess how this game is going to go, it's going to go slow. It's going to be a lot of running the football. I think we're going to see the Browns try to air it out as long as the weather permits it. And I think that it's going to stay close for the majority of the game, or at least close enough to make Browns fans' heart rates go a little higher than they would probably like. So I'm going to say that the final score of this game ends up being 23-13 Browns.
All
right, Zach.
That's okay. All right. Yeah, you guys are. I feel like you guys got some old Browns fan mentality, like worries and PTSDs going on.
I do.
I'm not feeling it right now this year, man. I feel a different vibe for this team. I am loving what I'm seeing. I think this whole team is bought in to the new culture. The defense is bought into Jim Schwartz. I completely think that the Browns, like I just said, if they can get ahead early and control the clock, scheme around TJ Watt and that defense, which I think Stefanski is smart enough to do, I got the Browns winning 31-14 on the road in Pittsburgh. I got the Browns taking care of business, starting 2-0, in the AFC North on the regular season for the first time since what, 94?
93.
93, same thing. I wasn't even born yet. I don't care. Let's go.
Why can't the Panthers and Saints just be on Sunday night? Well, the reason is no one wants to waste their Sunday evening watching that crap.
Tua is playing.
Yeah, I'd rather see that 100. That's going to be a fun game. All right. So MC Lawrence, Tyler is not a worry wart. Tyler is what we call realistic and uses stats to back up a lot of my thoughts.
Worry wart.
So like there's a good chance. By the way, we're going to have another Browns pregame show. The last Sunday did fantastic. So thank you all for tuned in for that. We're going to have another one before I get to mine. We're going to have that Monday evening at 7:00 on the YouTube channel. So make sure you have those notifications turned on so you can join us. There's a good chance my prediction might change between now and then. As of right now.
Oh, gosh, here we go.
As of right now.
No way.
What do you mean, no way? You thought I was going to pick the Browns every game this year?
He's not about to say what I think he's about to say, is he?
Listen, it's been a long time since the Browns have gone into Pittsburgh during the regular season and won, let alone in prime time on Monday Night Football. I want to believe so much that we're turning over a new leaf. We're going to go into Pittsburgh. We're going to smash the Steelers. We're going to be 2-0, and everything's going to be hunky-dory. It's going to be Super Bowl, Super Browns. Well, the reality is I do think this is going to be close. I think it's not going to be a blowout. Either way, I don't think it's going to be a blowout on Monday night. I have Pittsburgh winning this game.
Oh, Tyler.
You all can kill me. You all can say whatever you want. It's fine. And like I said, there's a good chance this could change Monday night. Like, it really could. As of right now, I have Pittsburgh winning. And the reason why it is – thank you, MC. I understand. A lot of people want to block me. You would not be the first person to do that. But the reality is the mentality aspect, Jack, that you mentioned, it's all mental right now. Just like it's mental with the Bengals not being able to go into Cleveland and beat the Browns. Unfortunately, I think it's mental with the Browns not being able to go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. Yes, you guys can call me whatever you want. That's fine. I'm not here to be a homer. I'm here to be real.
Dude?
I'm here to be realistic. Anyway, like
Douche.
Douche.
Dude, I'm dying. That's actually hilarious. Oh my goodness. You guys are killing me. I love you all. It's fun. I love all you guys. But it's going to be a tough game. It's going to come down to the wire. I got the Steelers 27-23 in this game.
Oh, dude, I don't see how you think they're scoring 27 points.
Tyler.
I just don't. It doesn't track in my head.
Like I said, this could change.
Oh, man.
Very well might change. It might not. You never know. I don't know I don't know if come Monday night my thoughts are going to be completely different because they very well might be. So, listen.
Well,
I
Tyler,
get it. It's
Tyler,
fun.
Let me ask you.
Okay.
So you said that the only person on the offense that you're really scared of is Pat Freiermuth, right?
Yes.
They had Pat Freiermuth in the game against the 49ers, correct?
For like 1 or 2, it wasn't long that they had him in there,
and they only
he
scored
got hurt.
7 points in the entire game. They didn't. They had
Yes,
one total yard,
and
in the first half,
he
right?
had their touchdown. Yes,
And he had 1 total yard in the first half, right?
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah, I'm not tracking. I'm not tracking what you're saying. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Listen, man, it's a mentality standpoint. Cincinnati cannot come into Cleveland and beat the Browns. And for years, Cleveland has not been able to go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. Am I wrong in saying that?
As soon as you said that, like 20 people left the stream.
You're not wrong.
Dude, hey, listen, dude. I'm not here to be a homer. Like, that's just not.
It's not
But
being
I think
a homer.
I think the circumstances are much
expectations,
different
dude.
this year compared to all the past years. We've been in a perpetual rebuild all those other years. This is different. We have a defense. We have a coordinator that knows how to use our guys, and we have a Pittsburgh team that is weak in a lot of aspects that they were not weak at before. Their offensive line is still a problem. Their quarterback is still questionable.
Correct.
Their wide receiver depth is minimal, if non-existent. I mean, you said the tight end is their best receiver. I mean, and it's Pat Freiermuth.
I think he's the one that would hurt the Browns the most. I do firmly believe that. Yes.
And they do have, a deficiency right now in the fact that they're one of their top, defensive players, Cam Hayward, is gone, and he's the guy who mainly is their big run stopper. And what do the Browns do best? They run the ball. So I don't know, man. I think that you're living in your fears right now.
Yeah.
Listen,
to quote Mike Tomlin, you're living in your fears.
The Steelers scored 28 points last year against the Browns in Pittsburgh. It's not far-fetched that they can do that. Listen, I understand what you're saying because I do believe that offense is not great. They scored 28 points against the Browns in Pittsburgh last year.
That is with Joe Woods. Remember.
I remember.
Listen, remember.
I remember.
I told you that during the show that I told the Steelers fans that it was the biggest mistake of their entire careers to let the Browns lose this game because it meant that Joe Woods would be gone and they'd still have Matt Canada. Matt Canada is still there. And I just don't see them scoring that many points. I just don't.
All right. We're going to, like I said, there's seriously a chance this might change Monday. I have been so torn all week thinking about who was going to win this game. Truly. Like a 50-50 split. I think Pittsburgh, I think Cleveland. So.
Can't go back on it now. You said it. You said what you said. You hurt my feelings. You're
right. Hey, come Monday night, today's Wednesday. I could easily change. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
You can't say 50-50 right now. You said Steelers. We're going to go with that. You said what you said.
Yeah. I did say what I said. But
tune in.
Listen, what I said, I could very well change come Monday night. We'll
what
see.
he's saying is that he's going to flake at the last second, Zach, and say, "I always
No,
knew
because
that."
I very well might keep what I said because I thought about I potentially
Very
thought about
open-ended.
even
You're
on
being
Sunday.
very
We'll
open-ended
see.
right now.
We'll see what happens.
I'm shook. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty shook right now, dude.
All right. Well, dude, I picked the Browns. How many times? I picked against the Browns how many times last year?
A lot.
I mean, all right. Anyway,
last year was different. Last year was last year. I don't care about last year anymore. I
all
don't.
right, well, all right. Anyway,
Way to end the
rest
show,
of-
Tyler. Way to end the damn show.
Hey, we still got other picks to make, so it ain't over yet. All right. So last week I went 2-2. How did you guys do?
I also went 2-2
I went 3-1.
because the Bills somehow couldn't beat the Jets. I don't know how it's possible, but they did not beat the Jets.
Oh yeah, they did.
The fighting Zach Wilsons.
Oh, that's funny. I love it. I love it. The fighting Zach Wilsons. All right, gentlemen. This week, Jack, who is your first game? Which team you picking to start off?
My first game is going to be. Gosh, this is hard. You know what? I'm going to go with our little divisional friends with the Ravens-Bengals game. And, you know, I'm going to do a favor to our good friend in the chat, Crystal. Crystal, I'm going to take your Bengals to beat the Ravens this Sunday. I think that Joe Burrow is going to play much better. And I think that he's going to get back into a groove, and they're going to go ahead and beat those the Ratbirds from Maryland.
All right. Ooh, I like that. That's a good one. I like that one. Okay. All right, Zach, what do you got?
Oh, Tyler, you've upset me so much tonight, dude. But you're my buddy. But oh my gosh, man. All right. Got Lions over the Seahawks. I can't believe you did that, dude. You really you shifted my mood so much tonight, dude. I got Lions over the Seahawks. I like the Lions. I'm buying into Lions. Lions over the Seahawks.
All right. Okay. All right. So my first one, let's see. There are some ones that are very interesting, but certain teams I just can't see myself ever picking. I'm going to go with the Cowboys over the Jets in Dallas.
Yeah, I'd pick that one too, probably.
You don't believe in Zach Wilson?
No.
The fighting Zach Wilsons, man? Come on.
I believe in Kenny Pickett over Zach Wilson.
That's a surprise.
I know you do.
Obviously you do.
I know you do. Yeah.
Obviously. He's your best friend, man. You love him in his small hands.
No, clearly I don't like him at all, but I do think he's better than Zach Wilson at least. That's not saying much.
Oh man. You know what? King Henry.
Thanks, guys.
King Henry had a pretty middling.
Y'all are ruthless in the chat. My goodness, guys.
I think that he's gonna come home to roost against the Chargers. The Chargers defense just I don't know what the heck they're doing over there. It is just not very good. I think King Henry's gonna feast on these Chargers. So give me the Titans over the Chargers.
All right. Also, thank you, Matt. I don't know how many chromosomes I have. Maybe I should count them one day.
Yeah, you can try.
All right, Zach, here's your second one.
Oh, okay. Threw me through a loop. You worked me into a shoot. Okay, I'm gonna go. There's really not many like upsets I could really see on this week, to be honest with you. Do I keep riding the Commanders' hand?
Do it.
It's
I'm gonna do
up
it.
to you, dude.
I'm gonna do it. Commanders are gonna start off 2-0 this year. I'm gonna go Commanders over the Broncos.
All
Yeah,
right.
the fighting Dan Schneiders.
The fighting Samuel Howells.
Samuel Howells.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Trying to see what's another one that I'm gonna do this, and I can't believe I'm gonna do this.
I mean, yeah.
When's the last time the Chiefs started off 0-2 under Patrick Mahomes?
Oh man,
I don't believe it's ever happened. I got Jacksonville in Florida beating the Chiefs.
I like that. Oh man, hold on. So oddly enough, I need setup for this one. So hold on, give me 1 second. Hold on.
Oh God. Oh my gosh.
Give me the Buccaneers. Give me the Buccaneers over the Bears, baby.
Get your weight up, boy.
The fighting Baker Mayfields, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Give me the Bucs.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Oh, I love it. Dude. I love that that I can unironically root for Baker Mayfield because he's in the NFC on the Bucs. I have no problem with it.
All right, Zach, who's your last pick?
Dude. Jordan Love over the Falcons. I'm going Packers over the Falcons.
All right. Okay. Let's see.
It's going to be like 1-3 this week.
I don't want to pick ones that are. I like to have ones that are a little challenging.
This week's kind of different a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
There's a couple difficult matchups here to gauge.
I'm half tempted to pick Houston over Indy, but I just can't bring myself to do it because I think Houston's so bad. Let's see. Okay. Can't go Las Vegas over Buffalo. I don't trust Jimmy G that much. Man, dude, I'm actually torn because there are a couple that I want to pull the trigger on, but I just can't bring myself to actually do it. All right. My final one, I'm going to have... Give me Denver over Washington in Denver.
Oh, you're going against me twice this week, obviously. Huh.
Yeah. Well, happens. Matt says Baker always trash and people think he's about to play good. I mean,
he's going up against the Bears. Okay, he has a pretty good chance here. Okay,
Justin Fields' revenge season.
Yeah, we'll see. RB1.
People are already calling for his head now, man.
Dude, this year. If he doesn't pick it up, the Bears fans are going to be asking for a tank.
Literally asking for a tank for Caleb Williams. All right, guys. Anything as we're wrapping things up? Anything you guys want to add?
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, Tyler, you really messed me up, man. Like this was all jovial. We're all happy, and all of a sudden, hey guys, I think we're gonna lose to the Steelers, guys. Gosh, you are killing me, man.
We beat we beat the team that everyone was talking about in the AFC North. We beat them the way we beat them on Sunday. We held the highest paid NFL player to 82 passing yards, and your response is we're going to lose to the Steelers. I'm not gonna lie, Tyler. I don't get it.
You're killing me, Smalls. You are
on a victory Wednesday. On a victory Wednesday, you do that to us. You put us through this.
Dude, I picked against the Browns 7 times last year, I think.
Yeah, that was different. That was different.
I don't care about last
year.
I'm
not going to pick. Listen, I'm not going to pick the Browns every week. I'm not.
Listen, I'm not asking you to.
We're not going to either. But I think they're going to start off 2-0 and 2-0 in the division. I have expectations this year.
Tyler, you know what? I'll forgive you because, everyone's wrong sometimes. Me more than most. I remember
I would say year. Me more than most, dude. No. I'm more wrong than not.
Brother, how many times did I choose the Browns? I chose the Browns like 17 times last week.
I think you chose the Browns.
I chose them like every week. I tried to be as optimistic as possible. That did not turn out well for me. Oh, Ansley, that is so true.
Damn,
wow.
I mean, it is true. It is true. That is... You know what?
It's all in good fun, but we are a little upset with you, Tyler.
That's fine.
A little bit.
Hey, man.
Browns Nation's upset with you right now.
Just wait if I say the same thing on Monday night, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Dude, if there's a lot more people in the chat, I might have to just retire.
Oh, man.
Jack, instead of roasting me, why don't you – there's nothing roasting about Homage Athletic Apparel. So what do you love about the brand and why people need to go shop at Homage?
Well, I love that they have such a great variety of products because if you were at the game, it was rainy, you probably wish you had one of those sick starter jackets to be able to put over yourself so that way, you wouldn't get wet from the rain. Maybe you needed a hoodie because it was cold. It's getting chillier too. I mean, it's like 60s right now. It's getting there. So you're probably going to want a hoodie. I mean, look at Zach. He's got a nice warm hoodie, great quality product. And you know what? Not only do they have great stuff if you're a Browns fan, a Guardians fan, a Cavs fan, but we have some people in this chat room right now who are from other cities, from Kentucky, from Pennsylvania. And I'm sure that they have great stuff for your local teams too. So if you really want to, buy some great stuff from a great company, go to homage.com, use our link. But if you're a Browns fan, like a normal person, our link gives you a great selection of, starter jackets, hoodies, shirts, all of different, sizes, different styles, different colors, all over the place of whatever you want, whether it's, just lifestyle stuff, whether it's sports, anything. You can get a great variety. I mean, I of course am rocking my Browns homage. We got Zach with his awesome hoodie. We got Tyler with his awesome Nick Chubb shirt. I mean, whether it's a player, whether it's a sports team, they basically have something for everyone that you would want. Oh, thank you so much, MC. We really appreciate it. But just use that link that's right there in the chat, and it really helps the support. It lets them know that you came from us and that you're supporting the show, and we'd really appreciate it. Again, Homage is a great place to be able to find a wide variety of shirts, hoodies, those sick starter jackets. If you don't have one yet, they're awesome for you, awesome for a friend, awesome for your dad or whoever would want something that is stylish and cool like that. I still need to get myself one. Oh, Connie, don't bring it up.
It was a perfect Homage read.
But seriously, Homage is awesome. We all love Homage. A bunch of our wardrobes are just completely filled up with them. I'm going to be wearing it when I go to Pittsburgh over the weekend. Hopefully I don't get in trouble. But if you're just hanging around Cleveland, you can't be wearing anything better than Homage apparel. It looks nice. It shows that you're a huge fan, and it's comfortable. That's really the main thing. So check out the link, go to Homage, and find your new favorite shirt. Because honestly, they just have way too much selection for you to not see something you like.
Once again, Jack, they need to hire you.
I try my best.
Are hiring you.
Pretty much, I would say. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of the Faithful Dawgs podcast and Network 216 production. Coming up here in about a little over a half hour, we have the Dog Chug here at 10 o'clock on the YouTube channel. Plenty of laughs for you from this past week. You're going to want to make sure you tune in for that. And don't miss it. Browns and Steelers pregame show Monday night at 7 o'clock here on the YouTube channel. Will I pick the Steelers again? I guess we'll see. That way you all can roast me once again. Or do I fold? We'll end up seeing what happens there. Anyway, appreciate all you guys that tuned in to this episode of the Faithful Dawgs podcast. We can't wait to talk to you all again soon. And as always, go Browns.
Say it, Tyler. Yeah.
Like, comment, and sub. Like, comment, and sub. Go to Homage. Better choose the Browns on Monday. You better choose the Browns. You better choose the Browns.